Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to another webinar. So today's webinar is Digital Healing, AI, and Mental Health Tools. So my name is Shanice, and I'm just going to be taking you guys through a welcome message and then guiding us through everything for today. So I'm not sure if everybody is aware, but it is Mental Health Awareness Month here in South Africa, specifically for South Africa. And I thought it would be a good idea for us to talk about, most of our passions here, tech, AI, and all those things related, and then combine it with something that's happening in real life and real time. So Mental Health Awareness Month. So we are going to be talking about anything mental health. So if you have questions, let me just start by saying if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. And then when we get to that segment, we will answer your questions. All right. Okay. So did you know that millions of people around the world are using AI as a part of their emotional wellness routine? From journaling with AI companions to checking in with chatbot-based mental health apps, technology has quietly become a listening ear for many. Some people even describe these tools as a space to vent, a safe space, non-judgmental outlet when they just need to talk. It's fascinating and it's also complex because while AI can offer comfort and accessibility, it raises questions about connections, privacy, and what healing really means in a digital age. This is what digital healing is all about, understanding the promise and the responsibility that comes with bringing AI into our mental health conversations. Here in South Africa, it's especially important because around 30% of South Africans will experience a mental disorder in their lifetime, and more than 90% of those living with mental health conditions are not receiving the care that they need. And that's exactly why we'll be unpacking today on how AI can bridge those gaps between human support and connection between AI mental health tools. So I'm not guilty of this, but I have seen a few videos on TikTok of people chatting to ChatGPT or Meta or different apps, like literally having a full conversation. And obviously, the AI is responding. And I feel like people don't know what they're doing because they just feel like, okay, we can use our free will. We're a generation of free will and just using their free will to chat and do all these things. So today we're coming together to speak about the pros and the cons of doing these things. So before I get started, I just want to introduce our speakers because we have all ladies lineup today. Last month was a male lineup, so I thought let me be fair and let me give the ladies a chance to shine. So first up, we have Abiodun. There we go. We have Abiodun, and then we have Bethlehem, also known as Betty, and then we have one of my close friends, Sister Praise Babatunde. Can we get a round of applause? With the emojis, of course. Don't be shy, give a round of applause. Okay, so we are going to jump into our first speaker, and that is Miss Abiodun, and she is going to tell us about Blossom Care, which is a sister partner with Eden AI. So if you haven't heard about it, she's going to tell you about it, and I hope you guys will find it interesting and see the work that is being done for stigmatized women in places that you wouldn't think would need it. So I'm going to hand over to Abiodun, and she is going to be our first speaker.
Hi everyone, good afternoon once again. My name is Abiodun Ademola and I'm the program Public Relation Officer for Blossom Girls Foundation and Communication Manager. And it's such a privilege to be here this afternoon to speak about Blossom Care. I will be sharing my screen. Yeah, okay. I hope. Okay. Kindly let me know once you can see my screen. Slideshow.
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right, good. All right. Okay, so I'm trying to make it in slideshow, so to make it easier for presentation mode. Okay, good. All right. Okay, so Blossom Care is a compassionate AI support for stigmatized women that we serve in BGOF, which is Blossom Girls Foundation, which was designed in collaboration with Eden AI. And it's an AI-driven mental health compassionate companion designed specifically for uniquely fixed by sex workers, destigmatized women, I mean sex workers, teenage pregnancy, and all of that. And it's born out of the things we do at Blossom Girl Foundation, which is to provide support, demand, emotional support, especially for sex workers and teenage pregnancy, and also to provide demand of in terms of complex situations where they are not able to face healthcare professionals because of the stigmatization around the kind of job they've done, that they are doing actually. So like I said, one of the things that actually motivated this initiative was one of our Blossom Girl, we call them Blossom Girl, which was actually pregnant at the time last year. And we actually nurtured the pregnancy up to like 9 months. And at the point of delivery, we lost the baby. And one of the issues was because of the beginning of the year, the beginning of the month of the development stage of the baby was not actually well handled, which was one of the things we faced because of the health care was like, oh no, we have to have the father before they could register her, which made the registration really very late, which could have contributed to the loss of the baby in the picture. And aside from the discrimination from the healthcare provider, there is this fear of judgment that leads to them even wanting to visit the healthcare service. So another thing is lack of early intervention, which actually worsened the maternal neonatal health service and disease outcome. And BGF actually outreach, one of the things we actually do is to reach out to women like this to support them. So in statistics, 31 60 million of women are actually restricted from this care, I mean healthcare services, just because of stigmatization. So, and one slogan that we could come up with this problem is that stigma should not silence a cry for help. That is, when marginalized women's teenage pregnancy is in place, stigmatization should not be the reason why you could not ask for help. So what is now the solution, which is where Blossom Care comes in? I think we can also see the video playing on the ground. I'm not sure if, okay. Okay, sorry about that. I'm not sure the video is just gonna be playing, it's gonna play out. So what the solution that we provided that we think would actually be of good story was Blossom Care. And like I said earlier, one of the reasons for Blossom Care is to provide 24/7 emotional support to vulnerable women on WhatsApp. I know you will be wondering that how could this be happening? Yeah, so it's a chatbot that actually helps in respect to you chatting with Blossom Care. It's anonymous. It keeps your anonymity with a person, and also Blossom Care allows an empathetic human life conversation. We call it Jane. Our AI compassionate, and it is also in native languages. So currently we operate in Nigeria, and hopefully to like expand to other outside outside Nigeria, I mean to other African countries. And in terms of anonymity and safety in crisis, Blossom Care also provide care without judgment or exposure at the point of need. Also, Blossom Care generates clinical notes that facilitate real-time referral and follow-ups. Like when you chat with the bots, it's easy for the bots to tell us, okay, maybe from the tone of your conversation, you are saying, oh, I want to commit suicide, I'm not happy. I'm not feeling good. So with the empathetic human-like conversation that Jane actually do have with people, it actually is able to pick up crisis issues even from that, and then send those signals to the back end, and they were able to like retrieve those data. So another thing that Blossom Care does is to connect you to Blossom Geology Foundation. And like I said, Blossom Geology Foundation is we rehabilitate and empower sex workers. We believe that they actually could have a second chance to life if only we could empower them and let them know that they're actually made for more, and giving them the right support in terms of education, mind renewing experiences, and all of those. Yeah, with that, and also giving them skill training, education, and we've had success stories of graduating girls even that lived them being sex workers to becoming something great. So contextual AI support in large-scale impact is one thing that actually we've seen with Blossom Care. It was launched this year, April, and it's deployed on WhatsApp, like I said earlier, and also with the clinical note taker to 150 women. So our partner BGF conducted 2 outreaches program to focus on group sex of workers. So we at BGF, we go out to the brutals to have outreaches, to reach out to women, and then we present to them this Blossom Care as a solution, just because in our rehabilitation program, we really have 10 people that could come into the program. But with Blossom Care, you are able to explore other opportunities and benefits that we want to share with other people that are not able to get into the Blossom House, which is our rehabilitation program. So another thing about Blossom Care is the clinical note that it takes. It takes clinical note, and the idea behind Blossom Care is to even expand it beyond what it currently does for mental health, even to like telemedicine, in such a way that when you are down, when you're sick or anything, and you need health support, through this chatbot, we're able to gather information and then being able to send you help that you need by sending the details to the professional that we worked with in terms of medical services. Also, in from the last 6, 7, 8 months that we've launched Blossom Care, we've seen that over 150 people has actually like sign up on it, have access to it. They might not really be using every day, but on each time basis when we go out for outreaches, we see people wanting to engage with it. So, like I said, it was a collaboration with Hidden AI, and Hidden AI is really doing so an amazing job in respect to AI technology, proven track and record with public health technology, and which they've deployed public health data application across the countries listed: South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya. Yeah, I think I might not be able to speak so much in that in regards of what they do, but they're actually our partner, and we actually chose them because we see that they have proven record of wanting to give services out there in terms of public health and mental health in particular. And here is Blossom Gewachi Foundation. Earlier this year, we won the award of social impact, which was locally and internationally recognized. We've been to various places in Nigeria to reach out to sex workers based on what we do. So BGF, we see it as a voice of change to girls in self-trade, reaching out to sex workers with a message of love, with hope, impact, and empowerment. So with Blossom Care, it's actually something that very, very germane in our everyday life, knowing that it brings social impact and advocacy with deep technology expertise. And these are the people that actually work with us. We are so grateful to Eden AI, knowing that with Bethlehem being I think she's like the project head in respect to Blossom Care. And it's really been amazing seeing how people interact with it, and seeing we are looking forward to see more results in how Blossom Care can actually help our people. Just like Chinese was saying at the beginning, that people just chat with both, but with Blossom Care, there's something very unique about it, which is the fact that it keeps you in an anonymity, that you don't even need to know who you're speaking with, but just wanting to render help and support, and ensuring that these marginalized women actually also receive support and help. And yeah, we actually was we are raising fund and still raising awareness in respect to Blossom Care, because we really want to support more women than we currently do. We want to support over 5,000 women in the next 2 years from now. Also expand the language support. Currently, it supports English and Pidgin, which is like the broken English in Nigeria, and also to expand the clinical health. Also, we would like to still grow more in terms of partnership with other people that will be interested in what we do, and also to expand the network of what we do by also implementing HMOs, healthcare provider, especially to the pregnant women, lady, girl. We believe that they actually still matters, and that the result of what they do should not like acknowledge why they are not able to receive help. That's what we really believed in. So together, we can change what healthcare looks like for stigmatized women, speaking from this point of sex workers, and also even every young lady, every young person, youth and adult. We believe that you matter, and your health matters to us as well. Your mental health is very, very, when you're not in the right mental health state, you might not be able to function well. So Blossom Care is one very important initiative that actually is out there, and we hope to get more support even so, and to the women that we serve currently. Yeah, thank you. You can also scan the code. You can scan this QR code also to chat with the bots and see how actually it's definitely going to be of support to you. Just that it might refer you to Blossom Girl Foundation. You might not be a sex worker, but definitely you might need mental health support, like emotional, compassionate AI, like it says. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you so much for that. Can you just give her a round of applause in the chat if you're able to? Just like give a round of applause. Thank you so much, Ms. Abiodun, for that. I hope we learned something new about Blossom Care and how we can, create new things that can help people from different places with different situations. Okay, so if you have any questions for Ms. Abiodun, I'm going to please ask you to type it out in the chat. And then when we get to that part, we will answer all your questions. But for now, I'd like to introduce Ms. Betty to take over and present her.
Thank you, Shanice. Thank you guys for attending this webinar. I'm really, really happy to see you. And I'm Bethlehem Gatehotra. I'm a data engineer at Eden AI. Today we're going to discuss about mental health in AI. So first let me share my screen. Just let me know when you can see my screen, please.
We can see.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about mental health in AI. So we're going to discuss about the pros and cons, and also some researches that is implemented in clinics, and then like how to find the common ground and how can we use AI as a mental health support and others. So let's start from why people couldn't get mental health supporter or doctor or a person. So let's get into it first. So why can't people get a help? So first, the traditional way of getting a support with a mental health is a bit difficult because of the cost, because of the traditions, and way of not knowing what to talk, and way of not knowing to be understood and how to speak to a person who can support us. So that was the main thing. But beside that, I think like in Africa there is not a lot influence about mental support, like when someone been traumatized or have certain kinds of issues, usually we don't go to therapy. I mean, usually lots of people don't go to therapy, so because of the cost, because of a lot of reasons. So first we need to know that one. So especially at this time, teenagers are using AI in order to get these kinds of support instead of going to the exact place to get the therapy. So research shows that teenagers use AI therapy bots like um, therapy therapy with AI.io, like official ones, or like some LLMs or anything that they can use, like ChatGPT, Grok, and the rest of the things. And the research say like 72% of teenagers use AI in order to get the satisfaction of being seeing a therapy. So getting their self-worth out to LLMs and when I say LLMs to AIs. So it gets like serve concern issues when like teenagers used it. So the next one, like let's start. This is just an intro. So let's start from the pros, like the benefits of using AI for the mental health, and we will go to the cons. First, like using AI as a mental therapy or for mental health. People use AI for mental health because low costs. Because like when we go to therapy, we need to find a therapist. Then in addition to that, we need to book a meeting with them. Then after that, we need to find even a therapist who can like take a new candidate, like a new person in order for the therapist. So that plus the cost gives an issue of I mean using an AI instead of a therapist. And it also AI is available for 24 hours, so some people consider like instead of going there, I can use AI because it's available 24 hours and low cost. In addition to that, people use AI because it is easy to talk, especially like when there is um, certain things that you couldn't speak to people's or you be ashamed or people's be ashamed about to speak about for the first time. People's use it AI in order to communicate, in order to be safe and to be acknowledged. And also some stigmatized peoples don't want to go to the real peoples and want to only express themselves and get affirmation. So it's easier to talk. And in addition to that, uh, especially when people fly to lives one country to another country, the barrier will be language. So even if they found a therapist, if their mother tongue is not English, or they might be like Mandarin Chinese, and they have to express their feelings themselves into foreign language, and that might be like not helpful for them. So they lean to use AI because AI is a multilingual and you can speak with your mother tongue and like easily. In addition to that, when you have a therapist, therapists sometimes forget, especially when they have a lot of customers. So what they're going to do is an AI have a memory. So even though you tell something, so some small things you found through, you talk about like 2 months or 3 months ago, it will mention that that's it. What happened before like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So it have a memory, so they don't have to express or explain certain things again and again. So people use it AI because it's easier to talk to. The other one is inner healings. The inner healings, when we meant inner healings, studies shows that um, especially undergrad or after graduations, usually young people face a lot of stress when they go to work, when they try to find new jobs and other stuff. So at this moment, people's are like this time, people's use AI in order to communicate and to give an affirmation from a benefit of that of like having a therapist. So in addition to that, like for some self growth, like knowing yourself, knowing what kinds of things you need to change in order to have a good personality, a good mentality, and free from like certain kinds of issues. So they use an AI for healing their inner words and for growing. So they also use certain bots like myintri.io, therapists with AI, also character AI, in order to communicate or to have that kinds of information. The other one is research. So in NEJM, AI was doing a research on not only on mental health, on physical health, mental health and physical health. So what they do is first they specify peoples like candidate peoples and try to giving them an AI, a chatbot that they developed and for only like for food. I mean, people don't have an eager to eat foods and for anxiety and other things. So after that, they give them. They want to do this research, and after that, they um like let me say like this after they make a candidate then for 8 weeks they give them this chatbot this system in order to act like a therapist for them. So after that, after 8 months, not I'm sorry not 8 months, 8 weeks, uh the results came out, and those peoples those who used the bot, their depression level decreases like 51%. That means like neck to neck with the real person therapy. So if it is 51%, that means like the depression of a person reduced by the bot is more likely the same as when a therapist did it. So that make it much more significant for the research. And in addition to that, they didn't do for depressions, they do for anxieties, and for the anxieties the symptoms of those people having an anxiety was decreased by 31% of their anxiety were decreased after 8 weeks. So this also make a significant change. And the other one that shocks me is even though it's a little percent, eating disorders. So these people's habit in eating disorders and their symptoms were decreased within 19%. But yes, it is a low, a little percent, but even for eating disorders helps this what people to have heal um, from eating disorders. So in addition to that, this this research wasn't done like this paper wasn't talked to the AI or the bot for like for once or twice a week. They were talking to it for 6 hours throughout the 8 weeks. So it was like consistent and reusable throughout throughout all of their journeys. So the research shows AI gives really, really relevant and good informations about therapy on mental health with using AI. and it reduces not on mental health only, like physical health and other stuff. Okay, let's dive into trust. Like we spoke about, like it would help, it would reduce costs, easier to talk. Also, it's also been doing research on, and it also significantly works neck to neck with a real person therapist. But let's talk about the pros, like what are the risks when we use AI as a therapy. So when we use AI, we all know when we use AI, it says like it gives affirmation. Like when I say like I'm feeling sick, I'm not feeling good, and because of this, I kill. God forbid, like I harmed this person, then it was like, don't worry, why you are doing that, but you're correct, you're this, you're that. It just giving me affirmation. So therapy is not affirmation, it's not like acknowledging other person feelings. It's all about getting understood and understanding that person and asking why. So AIs won't ask why you're doing it and doesn't keep you to talk and to tell, giving you a benefit of doubt, like, do not do this kinds of things. This is harmful. Like, what you are doing is not right, kinds of things. It just give you like a relax and good version of you, like saying, you're good, you're doing well, you're doing this, you're doing that. Affirmation is good, but also knowing the real world and knowing you're doing bad and you have to confront your traumas and have to be going to the therapist is also have to be done. So the first risk as this one, and the other one was, like we know, AI is an algorithm, like it's not a real person. So when you meet a real person, they know like your tone, they know the way your face look like when you say like I'm fine, like I'm okay. Then your face didn't speak like you're okay. So they're trying to pour, uh, ask you to pour what is in yours. On your, what you are thinking, and the quick pauses like when you speak about some things, when you are excited and other stuff. So, but AIs only acknowledge the words you speak. When I say I'm fine, it will say, okay, tell me about another things. But if I say I'm fine, like, okay, don't worry, I'm fine. But my therapist won't know I'm not fine and there's some things that's bothering me. So those things will not be known. And in addition to that, the history, they don't know like the whole history, my body language, my the way I speak, the tone, and everything. So that also another thing because we're talking to an AI, so it's just an algorithm, it's just sequence of words based on what I said. So that is the other pros. The other one, and that I consider the danger zone, is when people talk to AI and like other stuffs, they'll be attached to it. And sometimes when they get along with it, it will get worse and worse. So they don't want to talk to real world people. They don't want to talk to people they have to communicate and like living a life with people. They just get affirmations, and it will not be good for them to grow and to have a real world communications because they're all surrounded by like you're good, you're doing great, and you're always right and other stuff. But real world is not that, and they don't have an eager to communicate with others. That also will bother them. Will be harmful. In addition to that, like we know stories like people's fall in love with their therapist, people's like their therapist, like real therapists. So what if that kinds of things happen with the AI? If they get affirmations and everything, what if they fall in love? Like it might happen. So that might be a huge thing. In addition to that, if this thing is used by teenagers, and teenagers have a lot energy about like I'm always correct, I don't do wrong and other stuff. So if the AI is affirming, giving them you're correct always, it will guide them to another path and it will not be good for them. The other one is not about the cons, but we can eliminate these things, but the deep fix and the data. So when Shanice was mentioning at the first, she was saying like people were using ChatGPT in order to have a therapy and other stuff, but ChatGPT also used that data to train itself, and there is also data security and user controls, and also deepfakes based on what they have exposed to the AI. If they're exposing it to in a certain way that could be available for the public. So I see one research, not a research, but an announcement that if you use, I mean, the things that are on your histories on ChatGPT can be used on a court. So if I harm, God forbid, but if I harm someone in person, then in my ChatGPT history, I ask ChatGPT like how to harm a person without them knowing it and blah blah blah, and I harm a person. So that history will be used on a court as a defense of like I'm trying to harm a real world person by getting an idea from an AI. So that also be considered, and if with my therapist, my real world therapist, my human therapist, that would not be a concern because that real world therapist will understand me what my context is, even though I say like I want to know like how to harm the peoples because I was harmed by this person, blah blah blah. So she would understand me if I say this, but this information given to an AI and can be used to a court if I harm that person will be like a cons for me. So that's also another thing. So let's see like how we can build and how can we make it suitable for us without having those other issues, like without getting the validation, but without having harm other people's, also harming ourselves, because like sometimes AIs might get a glitch. Like sometimes they will be invaded by extra person, and if I say like I'm not feeling well, I'm feeling sick and not well, blah blah blah, then it would say like do a suicide thoughts. I'm sorry to use this word, but they might say these kinds of things if they are hacked and other stuff. So it might lead to a bad situations, but this thing will not be happened if they have been go to a real world therapist like a person. So what we're going to do is like, yes, we can use AI. Yes, we can use an AI as a mental support and as an like an access that we can talk to, but we shouldn't use it as, let me pass this one. We shouldn't use it as like a replacement of um, a therapist. Like we can use an AI when we want to pour in and get knowledge about ourselves and what we are thinking and what we want to talk to our real world therapist, a person, a doctor, but we shouldn't use AI for a long term to be like, no, I don't need any therapy or a doctor or therapist. I can use an AI. AI does much more better than real world therapist, but no. Like we can use it together using the AI in order to know like what the things we want to talk to the therapist, but we need to go to the therapist in order to get real world experience and knowing like ask advice like why you are doing this, like what are the things that is in your side and getting you're not correct. The way you did it's not correct, even though your feelings are right, but the way you did it's not correct and other stuff. So what I think is at the end we can use AI as a mental health supporter, but we can yet use an AI for the long term without intervention of a therapist because like using it um, like alone make it much more harder to the person, especially for the young peoples, for the teenagers. And I would prefer people's using AI as a supporter instead of being controlled by it and like guiding them throughout their journey. So this is all. Thank you for hearing me. I hope you got a really good information based on this. And back to you, Shanice. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. Can we please give Betty a round of applause? I hope you learned something. If you are doing it,
Yeah.
please. I hope you learned something. Let's just give a round of applause quickly. All right. So now we are going to jump into the panel discussion. So I have set out 5 questions, and then after these 5 questions, I'm going to open the floor out to anyone else who wants to, ask any questions from our 3 speakers. So like I mentioned before, you met the first speaker, Abiodun, and you've heard what she does, and you heard from Betty, and you've also heard what she does. And to join us on the panel, we have Praise, and the reason why Praise is here today is to get a deeper understanding because Praise is psychologist, so she knows how the brain works and how you know she thinks further than we do when it comes to things like this. So
Um, yeah, sorry about that. It seems Shanity's having some issues with her network. Okay, yeah, she's back. She's back.
kind of wavered. Can you guys hear me? Just
Yeah, yeah, we can.
one just answer if they can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, let me just sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, but your voice is a little bit low.
You hear me? Is it good?
A little bit low.
Low.
Can you
Okay, I'm not
speak?
sure why.
Mm.
Again.
All right, we'll just move on to the question and answer session for the panel. Just so we can just keep it going. Just let me know if you can see my screen, please. Are you able to see my screen? Yes. Yeah, so this is just the first question for our panelists. So if you guys can just have all three of you just please answer this question for us. It'd be great for us to just get started. Yeah. Biodun, Bethlehem, Praise, if you could just please help us tackle this question. Yes, Abiodun.
All right, good afternoon again. Yeah, the question says, how have you seen AI or digital tools influence mental health support in your field community? For me, especially for the work we do with BGOF, I've seen it being like an intermediary, especially for people that really does not want to like face the health professionals, the practitioners. So I've seen it as a very useful tool that could help bridge that barriers and break that barrier of not wanting to be how will I use the word? You not being stigmatized or you being looked down on, most especially maybe because of the physical state you are in at the time. So beyond BGOF, even in personal life, I've seen people not wanting to speak to people directly, like face to face. So I've seen the AI like a bridge trying to ensure that there is still that solution to people. So, and I've seen it influence, like make help, like support available, even though it's just like the bridge to the end support, which like Bethlehem was explaining earlier, that we shouldn't just speak with AI without having a physical person in place. And I think with Blossom Care, we've seen that it's actually still bridge that gives that leverage of you speaking to the AI and then translating the information, like the clinical notes, to the professional that would eventually now like give support without having a physical interaction with you. So I think in that regard, I would say that it's really very helpful. Thank you.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Apologies, I can't switch on my camera due to network. But I think also just to harp on to what Abiodun said, is that if we have to look at it from a perspective, especially of the younger generation, and I think Bethlehem also touched on this, is the self-diagnosis that many young people tend to do. So they figure out symptoms and ultimately diagnose themselves, or go on ChatGPT and say, this has been happening to me lately, what could be the problem? And it'll start off from very mild of maybe maybe you're stressed, maybe you need to rest, to something more intense, like suggesting other issues. But then the one thing I realized is that what ChatGPT will always do is always, if you're unsure, please seek professional help, seek professional advice. And I think many young people like just overlook all of that, and all of a sudden our self-proclaimed diagnostics, you see, that's why you see many young people going on social media and say my ADHD or my OCD or my this or my that. And they all of a sudden seem to have a disorder or a mental illness due to self-diagnosis. So I think that's the direction as to which it has been going so far. But and that's in more of if you're looking at it from a global perspective. But then I think recently I also discovered, I think was it the University of Western Cape, I'm not too sure. They started using chatbots to help with their, I think in some universities they call it their, what do they call them? Sorry, please give me a second. I think they call them, okay, I'm not too sure, but they started using chatbots in a sense, right? To help with providing support for students. I think theirs is called, yeah, WYSA, to help motivate students. And, if you feel like you have an issue, you don't want to talk to anyone, you can go onto the chatbot and, put in your worries. And I think when it starts escalating, then obviously they will refer you to a professional. So that's the direction as to which it is going at the moment. Well, in my community, this is what I am, in a sense, seeing. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other contribution to the discussion before we move on? Okay, then. And then we'll go to the next one then. Yeah, which says, what role should mental health professionals play in shaping responsible AI development? Yeah, Bami.
Yeah, thank you, Timmy. Thank you, everybody. So just to ask a question, just a follow-up question on the last point from Praise, who is a psychologist, but also in HR. Generally in terms of mental health in the workspace, um, um, from your perspective, are corporates also looking to integrate some of these tools in ensuring, employee wellness, employee um, uh, just checking the mental state of the employee, or just the happiness of the employee with the services that are being rendered to them within the corporate space. Are you aware of any companies maybe looking to integrate AI? And if so, what is the mindset behind using AI to track employee well-being? As that's a really, really important aspect of why we live HR management. Yeah.
Thanks for that question, Bemi. So I think many companies should be in the perfect world, very much involved in their employees' well-being, right? And it has slowly graduated from the physical, the on-site management of employees' well-being to eventually getting to stage whereby your well-being is, in a sense, in your own hands, while the company provides, aspects for you to go about in, getting that balance. I think AI, though, is a new sphere that I know many companies are venturing into when it comes to well-being, because especially well-being in the workplace is it's a very touchy. Sorry, excuse the background noise. It's a very touchy subject. So when you think well-being, in a sense, you don't really want to connote it to AI, right? Because, like I said, it should be untouched. So if, for example, if an employee is depressed, right, the first thing you're gonna tell them is not, oh, have you tried speaking to the chatbots? And I'm not trying to be, I'm just, the first thing that they are going to do, and that is if they do take ownership of their wellness, is they'll want to speak to a professional, someone in the professional, someone who's a professional. Sorry. So currently, I know many companies have well-being officers. They have wellness officers, and I know in Standard Bank um, we use Life Health. It's a healthcare service provider, and what Life Health does is that they give you a chance for you to refer someone, or you can go ahead and call them on their call helplines and everything. However, I haven't yet seen that integration, but I have seen the integration in like the usual like master classes on speaking to the employees and helping them. There's something that we Standard Bank recently started doing, which is called Zenergy, and just aligning yourself, um, ensuring that there's that work-life balance, whereby you're able to balance work with your health, with your emotional, mental, physical, and even financial health. So I haven't seen that integration as of yet. Currently, it is still more that human first aspect. in the corporate space.
Abiodun, want to add something to this?
Yes, so I wanted to add to what Praise just said in in respect to the fact that maybe organizations are not really looking into it, but I think it's something that we could actually like drive to see what people could do, especially that, or when someone is breaking down, the first thing you would say is not an AI, but before it gets to the point of critical stage where every employee is breaking down, I think it's something that a tool that should actually be in place just so that you don't even overwhelm the physical person. And I think it's going to lead to the second question, to answer the second question about what can you like, I think the question was, what can you suggest to a professional, like how do they like integrate the AI? I think that was the question. So from what I'm going to say would be that, okay, what is the role should mental health professional plays in shaping shaping responsible AI development? I think the first thing is for them to embrace it rather than you seeing it as a competition that want to take away your job. You need to embrace that a tool that makes your work more effective. It's just like you using the teams in collaboration, like different people in different places can actually like interact together, like work together on a document without having to be in the same space. So I see it like embracing the tool of AI in making your work more effective, in making your work, you don't have to sit with one person in like 2 hours, just listening to the person before you could be able to like recommend possible solutions of what they would need. I think having leveraging on the AI tools is something they could actually like embrace to really minimize all of those issues that could come up, of maybe human insufficiency and yeah, and all of that. So I just wanted to speak in that regard that rather than we waiting for it being a critical problem, we could actually put it in place to make our work more effective, even for the employees as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Abiodun. Yeah, Danny, yes.
Thank you. I'm not sure if we have a poll sort of around. And maybe I should have also introduced myself. I know I'm not one of the speakers today. I'm founder of Eden AI, and been um, privileged to work in this mental health space with Blossom Girls Outreach Foundation, which Abiodun, who just spoke now, is a real member. If you just Google Blossom Care, you'll see a lot about the work we've done there on the internet. Some with our permission and some without, but bottom line, it's quite a good piece of work that's been done now with Blossom Care and helping stigmatize women. I think just to buttress this fact and maybe ask a follow-up question, it would be great to have a poll maybe of like the number of people on this call who have actually asked AI for a mental health problem, like to give an answer to a mental health issue. It can be anonymous, but like I think it will give us maybe a good idea of what the of how even the use of AI is on this call. I don't know if that's possible, Shanice, if possible. And while I guess the conversation is going, it would be great to see what those results look like at the end of the session. Yeah.
Uh, Thank you for that. We'll look into the poll and see if that's possible. But anyone between Bethlehem and Praise, do you have anything to add to this question before we move on?
Okay. How I mean, like I said before, AI would not be used as a replacement of professionals, but it's like there was a research on Terabot, I think Terabot. So the bot works like re- uh, really the same as we worked on Blossom Care. They use a cognitive let me see. They use a cognitive behavior therapy, like uh, the bot will understand what you are saying and will be working or will talk to the person in a way of well understood and really confronting way instead of the rest of the bots that we know, like ChatGPT and others. So it will confront you. You can put your list of things, and professionals have been experimenting on terabots, how terabots will give a therapy and how real person, a professional, will give a therapy. And in addition to that, AIs can be used in different ways, like not as if a chatbot, they can write notes, like uh, professionals write notes. So, like therapists, when you go to the therapy, you sit there, you talk to them, and after, at the end of the therapy, they wrote a short note about why your diagnosis in the eye of the professionals, and even professionals took a time to write those things. So we can use AIs even as a replacement of reducing a burden of a therapist, a professional, uh, between the conversation with their patient and with their customers. And I think professionals, I mean, we know like AI is a big thing and AI can be used in different ways, but professional can shape this AI into reducing their burdens, also handling certain critical issues when they didn't have any time, like when a person needs a therapy at the midnight, like 3 a.m., like 1 a.m., it would be more beneficial to get not as a replacement, but having an eager to talk to a person or to an AI. So that's all I can say about this question.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And yeah, we'll just move on to the next question real quick, just to keep it moving. But before that, I just want everyone to know that we will have a poll in our chat now. Yeah, so just try to keep it forward. Yeah. So, for the next question is, how can digital tools make mental health care more inclusive, especially in underrepresented or remote areas? If you have any thoughts to add on that.
Okay,
Um,
and
yeah,
Can you hear me?
yes, we can.
Okay. So I think the very first thing you need to look at is access, right? First of all, do these individuals in these areas have access to uh, to devices that could possibly use the internet or even the internet itself? Because many times when we talk underrepresented or remote, it's in areas whereby there isn't network, the areas whereby they don't have devices, or basically lack of access. So I think once and I don't want to say once that is fixed, then we move forward from there. But I think in a way, if there are, because I know there are, and please do correct me if I'm wrong, but Doctors Without Borders, right? We have individuals like that who go into areas and they are able to give healthcare to areas that don't have access to it. And I think if we could have something similar when it comes to mental health, because we have a few areas like that, and even in South Africa, whereby it's, and when we say underrepresented, could be very young individuals, very young children who need these digital tools because they live in areas whereby they do not either have a psychologist or social health worker. So first of all, if I think if the issue of access can be addressed, then we can move forward into saying, okay, let's see how we can provide digital tools to the system. But yeah, that's my addition.
Thank you for that praise. Yeah, Biodun, Bethlehem, do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, I think I really support what Grace said about in respect to access. And yeah, I know I actually was opportune to like use the particular, is there an application by SA Youth, something like that. And it's funny how once you're on the website, you don't even need to have a data for you to be able to like access that particular like you like moving around on the particular application. So I don't know if it is possible for in respect to the digital tools whereby you don't have to like have data and then it's to still be able to like navigate around the website or something, or maybe so because for Blossom Care it's actually WhatsApp based, so definitely you have to have an internet. So maybe we could look into saying how it could actually work even without you like being on a WhatsApp. Maybe like we know when you click on the website, it's possible for you to just see a chatbot like hanging around the website, whereby you can easily like chat with it even without you having internet. But in respect to access for the places where there will be no internet at all, I think having an hub, like a mental health hub, would be something that could also be looked into, like physically in communities like that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Bami, I see your hands up. You can please add to that if you wish.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to just follow up there on the discussion here around mental health tools in the space, in the AI space. I think Abiodun, maybe you can help us here and explain what the experience has been like, helping women in like underrepresented areas and communities, for example, with Blossom Care, what the experience on ground has been, some of the challenges faced. And I think that may also give us a little bit of insight as well.
Okay, thank you. Like I think one of the challenge we currently face for Blossom Care, it's the fact that people would complain, oh, I don't have internet, and yeah, I'm not able to, even though I want to speak with the AI, I'm not able to like still be able to express myself just because of the limitations of internet, which is data, since it's WhatsApp based. But yeah, we just have to encourage them to know that okay, we listen, we heard you. If there's any other way we could make this work without having to be that you need to have internet, we would definitely like consult with our technical part, which is the hidden AI. Yeah, so I think currently that is just what I would say it's like a barrier. And also, because of the people we serve, which is the sex workers and marginalized women, teenage girls, and all, it's not something that especially the country where we currently operate now, which is Nigeria, it's not like they're not really embracing it as we hope that it should be, based on the fact that people are not really like chatty like it, like Praise mentioned, like people are in crisis. The first thing they want to do is not to chat with the bot. Yeah, but we still see it like it's as time goes on, people will definitely embrace. We are the technology world that we are in now. It's time like season and season pass, and then people are now like getting to understand that okay, I can now like speak in this regard. I can chat with people. I don't even have to do a direct call. I can't even remember the last time I literally like picked my phone to do a direct call to people rather than doing like a WhatsApp call or something. Yeah, so I think it's just with time, I believe that these barriers are things that could actually be over it in respect to people now like coming to embrace the reality of what it is in terms of the technology part of it. So I think with that, that's what I would say that Blossom Care currently face as a challenge. But aside that, I think all is good. Yeah. Thank you.
Uh, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I thought I saw a hand up, but I can't see it anymore. Yeah, so we'll just move to the next question then. And that is, how do we balance using technology to help people that replacing authentic human connections. Yeah. So just open the floor to Abiodun Bethlehem. Which do you want to tackle it first?
I think Bethlehem could go first.
Thank you. Um, without having an attachment. Okay, that's a big thing, but okay, let's say um I can say that like we can balance it by having an involvement of peoples. Like if a person can have um the AI or chatbot for like 2 or 3 weeks and having an involvement of a person like professional like by the fourth week or one at a time, 2 times, it would make much more significance if the person want to use the technology more often because like having um having a personal conversation once would look like having it like for a weeks and more, but having a conversation with a bot might not feel like you have gotten okay, let me say it like this. When you have a conversation in person, it make it more longer and more expressive, even though you talk to that person through the chat. When you have chatting with a real person, it will make it like not much more significant change or like not much more attachment to it. This is the same as for the AI. So for the AI, you can have a chat for quite longer time, like for a week or 2 weeks. But if you have here and there personal chat with the real person, with a professional once a week or 2 times a week, I mean once a week or once a month, it make it much more difficult because when you talk to the therapist, um, you will tell him the things that even an AI suggests. So he will make it like, oh, that's good, or this part wasn't good, this part was, I wouldn't say if you say like this at the time and other stuff. So I will make shapes or like balance all those things in different part in different time, but having the AI conversation much more less, and the conversation you have the conversation a person have done with the AI have to be told to his therapist and what is he would suggest, even though it accepts if even though it have a conversation with the AI. So being transparent with your therapist and use the AI, but also be concerned because like when we use an AI and when we get some suggestions, we are only the person that would say like would be informed and like would say like that's good or that's bad. We need another person involvement in order to make it true and to make it this is well and can be implemented and other stuff. So what I suggest is have both of involvement, but also there have to be a transparency between what you have a conversation with the AI where and I have to tell it to my professional therapist. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Bethlehem. That was really insightful. Abiodun, do you have anything you want to add to it?
Yeah, I think I would just say that I think I've already earlier mentioned that like health professionals should actually like embrace the tools, not because it's gonna replace their job or something, but rather because it's gonna make their work more effective. So how do we now make the balance? It's the fact that there is still a kind of proofreading that will be done by the expert, which is the human person, like the back at the back end of the chat, even though it's anonymity because you don't know who you are reading the chat about. So there is still that part of the human factor of trying to understand what the chatbot has maybe summarized as a clinical note. Because for instance, with the Blossom Care, with the chat you have with Blossom Care, there is crisis. It needs to be read to like the clinical note that will be generated by the AI that will be sent to the health professional that will actually now like proofread and see, okay, well, this is what this person is going through. This is what I'm going to recommend to this person, and this is the help that we can make available at the moment. So I think the balance that I would say we need to is for us to understand that despite the fact that we have the AI, the human factor of trying to still like go over whatsoever chats you've had, whatsoever that the AI has recommended for you. And like Bethlehem said earlier, that at the end of every ChatGPT conversation, you will see that it always say seek professional support. And I think that actually already tells us that the human factor cannot be really like erased out of the whole equation. Yeah, so I think in balancing it is ensuring that the two works hand in hand for effective solution. Yeah, that's what I can add to that.
Thank you for that. Yeah, so we'll just move to I'll just move to open the floor to anyone who had any questions to add before we move to our final question. Does anyone have any questions they wish to ask our speakers right now? Okay then. With that said, I just wait, Janice. Yes.
Yes, so I have a question. I just wanted to ask from both Betty and Abiodun and Bemi and everybody else, said how, like, assuming you work in tech, how do you make it your responsibility to educate people on how AI works? Because like I'm learning as well. I'm not like big in tech, but I'm learning and I'm seeing things that I haven't seen before, and I'm more cautious about what I do, like, or ask AI or ask anything in that field. So like, how do you make it like your responsibility to educate people on how to use it and what to do and what not to do?
Yeah. So just open that floor to anyone who wants to tackle that question.
Bethlehem, you can go first.
Thank you. Okay, so what you can suggest? Okay, what I'm thinking as is, um, I would prefer before like using any of therapy, chatbots or AI in order to use it as as like a therapist, do a research on what that model would do and what kind of information would be exposed. So especially like when people use uh, ChatGPT as a therapist and using it might work well with certain prompts, but we have to concern with our data. So ChatGPT trains its data on certain kinds of people's. I mean, the things that we give him. So if we give what our security insecurity is and what we done in the past and other stuff, like I said before, it would be used in the court if we do something wrong. So if you are using like Blossom Care, Blossom Care as like a more bounded format, like it have an involvement of a real person at the back, because when there's a critical issue, it will give the subnote, when we say subnote clinical notes, to the real organizers of Blossom Care, also to the person who have those kinds of issues, like you have critical issues, please contact Blossom Care. This is their phone number. This is what you are feeling. They will be contacting you in 24 hours. If it is critical, it will contact you like through the week, throughout the weekends, if it is moderate and other stuff. But for the people who want to know like what kind of trauma they have, what kind of mental disorder, or what is their mental state is right or wrong, first I would like to suggest them to ask a therapist, which kinds of AI should they choose, or they have to research on list of therapy AIs in order which one is safer and will not expose my information, and which one can be used illegally, and which one is more confronting and not like justify like you're right, you're right, you're right, you're doing well, do this, do that, and instead of that, like confronting again and again in order to pour what are the things that is inside me. And there are without those, there are some tastes that you can take if you assume you have ADHD and other stuff, other symptoms. But do not, I will always suggest like do not accept all of the informations that they give you. Like sometimes, like even though on the Google, when you search certain, like I'm coughing, I cough blood, I have a flu, blah, 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 it will say like cancer, and you'll be shocked, but that would not be a huge case. Like that will not be a cancer. Like I'm not eating, I don't have an illness of cancer, but it would suggest like the worst things. So I would prefer use the AI, but also have an involvement of a therapist, but also be considered that AI is not AI is just an algorithm and will not understand your feelings and your signature your movements and what you are feeling. It just knows what you say, the words, and what comes next. So that is all I can say.
Thank you, Butler. Building, you want to answer this?
Okay. Yeah, so I think I would just like say the other way, aside from you researching on the particular one you want to use, I also would say that in respect to awareness, and also like each and every one of us can be an advocate of like webinars like this can keep going on for people to be able to have proper awareness about, okay, like for instance, when Bethlehem was speaking, even myself, I was able to pick one or two things, even from the fact that like over dependence on AI can actually be a problem. So it has its pros and its cons. So we also need to put those awareness out there that yeah, even though it's an AI, yeah, it still have human inputs. Like all these algorithms, all the back work that has been done, there might be an error, and so we need to check for the genuinity of whatsoever that you are actually like seeking for. So aside from you being researching, I also would say that you are also trying to ensure that you check for the result, you check for the genuinity of what you are actually checking out for, like requesting for in terms of help and support. And I think it falls back to the fact that aside from we advocating and speaking and doing this kind of webinars for other people to learn, I also feel that that part of the human part of still trying to connect the dots of what the AI has produced and what the human factor so like would able to like proofread and say, okay, yeah, this is a good solution that has actually been provided to you, or maybe there is more to it that you need to actually like look into. Because I remember a time when I was even chatting with Blossom Care, and I was trying to say, okay, I'm not feeling so well. It was like the Blossom Care was really trying to understand, okay, what did I think could actually make me feel now like the way I'm feeling. So there was still like deeper question I was asking just to predict what could be happening to me. It didn't just go straight forward and say, okay, no, this is what you're feeling. They were also like the AI also tried to like check for the roots, what could be the roots problem of what you're actually going through. Yes. So I do I know that for Blossom Care, I don't know that for other AIs that might be out there for help for you to use. So I know that with Blossom Care, it's gonna keep asking you to ensure that it gets full details of what could be the root cause of what you are going through. Yes. So I think we just need to keep bringing it out there in public, speaking about it, and also like making webinars, seminars, and conversations like this so that people would learn from. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so any other questions that we want to ask to our speakers before we go to the final question of the day? Okay, then just go to the final question of today. I'll just bring it up, which says, yeah, should there be limits to what AI is allowed to do when it comes to mental well-being? Yeah. So
Yeah, I think I'll go first before the technical part comes in, which is Bethlehem. So I think yes, I would say there should be. Yeah, based on the fact that the accuracy of what you might be needing might need to be tested for. Yeah, I know one of my lecturers in school will say that I hope your AI was not hallucinating when you are asking questions. So meaning that the AI can actually hallucinate. When you mean someone is hallucinating, it means maybe saying things that like divert things that differently from what you actually was asking for. Yeah, so I think in maybe in respect to maybe for the emotional support where you just need somebody to show that, oh, I'm there, I care, I listen, I don't judge you, I'm just there to help you, maybe good. But maybe now in respect to now recommending maybe drugs, recommending permanent solutions, that needs to still be vexed with the human person, like the human factor, like the health person, like the mental health therapists that have been trained and I've seen I've seen issues that they could use as a case study of what could be happening to you. Yeah, so I think for me, I would say yes. Yeah, there should be a limit to what it could be do, like it could do actually.
okay, thank you, Abiodun. Bethlehem, nothing to add. Or do you want to
Yes,
completely disregard what you said?
no, not really. I would say yes, there needs to be a limit to be used because health is a big thing. It shouldn't be, there wouldn't be like if we can have a capacity to remember everything and to be anywhere available 24 hours, I would prefer well-worded professional would do it, but we're human, so we need to rest, we forget a lot of things. So that's why AI is involving in healthcare. So when we come to healthcare, like others say, I think the suggestion part should not be like accepted about medications and other stuff. And like they are like logically, I mean theoretically or yes, theoretically correct things, but when we take it humanly and logically, it wouldn't be correct. So like there is a joke, sometimes there is a joke that says like if you ask an AI how to like remove poverty, how to reduce like totally reduce it like 100% poverty, pollution and other stuff, AI will answer like reduce the amount of peoples instead of reducing the solution, they would say. So these kinds of suggestions would look logically when we think it like theoretically it's correct, like when if we reduce the amount of peoples in the earth there will not be a lot of pollution, but when we take it logically and thinking it like human like characters, we shouldn't remove peoples, we just have to find a way to resolve those problems. So these kinds of suggestions might affect when we come to health sectors, when we come to especially mental health, it make it much more harder to get these kinds of suggestions in a wrong way. So suggestions have to be taken uh, under the concerns of professionals instead of taking it like it suggests me breathing exercise. Yes, that's good, but what if it just suggests me like if you are like being traumatized by this person, just kill that person and live your life. This is like a huge mess. So suggestions have to be seen under the consent of professionals, and there needs to be a limit to an AI. That's all I can say. Thank you, Timmy.
Thank you, Bethlehem. I think you've said a lot. So I'll just ask if anyone just One last time, if anyone has any other questions you want to ask before we just give it to Shanice for the final one. Okay, then I'll just hand over to Shanice then. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for participating, and a special thank you to all of our speakers for, answering all the questions. But I'm just gonna ask one final time. Does anybody have any questions, aside of the ones that have been answered, or just anything you're curious about in terms of AI and mental health? Anyone? I count to three. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think people are shy to ask because we don't want to ask random questions, but it's
There's
okay.
a question in the chat.
You can unmute, or if you want to type it out, you could type it out and then I can read it for you. Anyway, it's possible.
Good day to you. My name is Tolu Anime. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you to the anchors and everybody that has spoken so far. My question is basically about the data aspect. As we, for instance, as we are giving information to the AI concerning what we are passing through, about how the AI could help us and how we are given data. We are giving data. So is there anything that has been set in place for our data protection in such a way that, we will be communicating with the AI about our personal life? You understand? So I feel that, I don't know, but I don't think that's been spoken about. Probably if I had missed it or something, because I think our data should also be protected, because anybody can just get in and just bring out the what's it called data and use it against anybody. For instance, if probably is someone that's okay, for instance, the example that was given, if probably someone that's killed someone else, and the person now is traumatized, and the person wants to get some advice or probably anything from the AI. Without the data protection, the person can be tracked down and any other thing can happen to the person rather. So is there anything that has been set in place as the data protection concerning whatever information will be given to the AI? That's just my question.
Okay,
let me answer that part. Thank you. About the data, first, we need to choose what kind of AI or chatbot we're using first in order if we are concerned about our data. Like I said before, if we are using Grok, OpenAI, we know they use to train on our data. But if you are concerned about our host using it, using I mean using I'm using AI for mental health, and we don't want our AI in order to be trained, our data in order to be trained, and we want to use it. We want to protect our data locally. What we can do is install some LLMs locally, and if the data is not send it to an internet on other stuff, our data will not be exposed to anyone, especially if we use what was the name? Let me remember the LLM. Olama? Yes, Olama. If you use Olama you have to download it locally and you can chat with it. You can also customize a shorter way of your version of therapy by prompting some things. And if you have a chat with Olama, and that's downloaded on locally. Your data will not be accessed by an internet or nor like being used for training. So if a person want to use an AI and really not like not understand, but then not believe other companies about giving those kinds of data, those therapy data and protected data that we have on in our hearts, and we want to have a communication with therapy. I really recommend install LLMs. I would recommend Olama, install Olama, then have a chat with it, ask them to be a therapist, have a letter prompt for it, and just do your conversation, get suggestions, also acknowledgement, also based on your prompt, you'll get like more comprehensive professional, not professional, but synthetically professional therapist for ourselves. And when you delete Olama or that downloader server, your data will vanish, will not be taken through the internet to other LLMs to regenerate, or will not be out of your control. It just a secret you can tell to your PC. So it just locally, so it won't be taken, or your data will not be lost or taken to another. But I suggest first, like if you're using online, except this one, online, like therapy bots, they say like this is free, you can use it, you can do this, you can do that, but we need to dig around like how our data is private, and if I use this AI, are they using it for training? Is my data is protected and other stuff? So we need to read what are the things before we how our data will be protected before we using. But if you are concerned, if we rob a bank, are a big thing. So we want to tell that kinds of things to an AI. We can download an LLM, then just for ourselves to add, have a discussion, get a formation or acknowledgement, or get some information, some suggestions about how our mental health is. Have like a conversation, then you can delete that LLM and everything will vanish. All information kept to your heart and nobody can access it. So I would prefer search the what kind of LLM you're taking and search how you can use it. And this is all I can say. I hope this might answer your question, but anyone can add to this, please.
Is there anyone who wants to add onto what Betty has said?
I think she actually gave a comprehensive response, knowing that she's in the technical part, like she knows what is happening behind what we see physically in respect to interacting with the AI. Yeah, and I know that there's one thing that we uniquely speak about for Blossom Care is that it's anonymous. So I don't know if that Olima that she's speaking about actually is what we also use for Blossom Care. Yeah. So I think it's just about you researching on what AI you're using. I know there are times when I've even chat with ChatGPT and I'm saying, I'm like, are you sure this data is just between us? And like, trust me, once you are out of this window, I don't have a record of it. I say, okay, let me believe you, which I know is not true. Yeah, because I recently also find out what Bethlehem was saying about your ChatGPT chat can actually be used in call. I'm like, but you said this is between me and you. So apparently there is definitely maybe a data bank where all of these things is being used. I just feel like it's just about we knowing what we use and the kind of tools that we use. So I think that would be a suggestion to even AI. So if they can also like come up with more AI tools that can be trusted in such a way that you know that whatsoever I'm doing is anonymous, and yeah, that even though it's a chat between an AI, yet it's still like confidential as it is. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Abiodun. I hope your question was answered. All right, thumbs up. All right. I think this is something we definitely need to, speak about and make people aware about, because we are very reckless when it comes to chatting with ChatGPT. I think students can attest to this, and later assignments, and you just need to get it done. Definitely ChatGPT is a backup plan. So I think we definitely need to educate ourselves as well and find out what we are using before we just jump in head first. So yeah, I think that concludes all of our questions and answering both together. And I'd just like to thank everyone for joining, and I hope you learned something, because I definitely learned something. So if you didn't learn anything, I would assume you are not listening. Because we heard a lot of insightful things today that I'm taking home with me, and I hope you'll take home with you as well. And I'd like to thank our speakers once again, the ladies. Thank you for representing us, ladies in tech. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today's session. If you have any suggestions for the next one, burning questions or anything you want to dive into that you're not pretty sure of, you can just add it to the chat, and we'll definitely do another one. But that's it for today, and thank you everyone for joining. Hope you have a blessed week.